So you have these casual meetings, you're connecting, how are you doing, check-ins. You have the town halls check-in. Okay. Now you and I both know, Tim, that creates a lot of to-dos, a lot of follow-ups. Okay. So how do you make certain that you get back, and not just one time, some of those require multiple follow-ups, and maybe you delegate those, but how do you make certain that you're doing that? Because otherwise it's kind of like with politician that shows up in town and we never see him again type of thing.
It's vital, and I absolutely had to learn that. I'd learned it through some hard knocks earlier in my career of that. But I came back with page after page of notes because the firm had been kind of plateaued for a while, so people had all kinds of ideas about what to do now, right? About the to-do list. But the crucial thing for leaders, I think, no matter what size company you've got, is if you are listening, which I think is important, you have to act on the ideas. Doesn't mean all of them, because it may not be in the whole vision or what the direction you need to go, because there's ideas that just don't work for what you need at that point. But I do think acting on the ones that will help you get better. I mean, listening and recognizing you have a shortcoming as a company or even as a leader that you can take action to get better at. So you do have to show some improvement, or else you're exactly right. It's just like a politician promising things. And actually, with the volume of that was happening, it led us to create this idea, because I'm a coach who had suggested this, of coming up with a chief of staff position. And it was one that law firms had traditionally not had, but he worked mostly with businesses. And I know some of that's the scaling of the business to get to that point, but it was someone who could execute. So I come back with my notes, we sit down, I go through them all. She helped sort through it and keep track of the ones that we're actually now trying to make progress on. Because you're exactly right. I mean, it could just be overwhelming. And so that's one way that I was able to do it. It's so vital that you got to act, right? Because you don't do that, then they just stop telling you. They don't care. They don't listen to you because they don't think you're listening to them. So.
Yeah. And have you found what I found, that really the number one, the important thing is they want to feel that you listened. But number two, and it's a little different, they want to know that they were heard. Mm-hmm. So you even getting back and saying, I appreciate this idea. I don't think it fits right now, but keep thinking, or something like that is so important. You don't just cherry pick and don't respond. Oh, well, they're not a top performer, I won't respond to them, or I don't relate to them as well, or I didn't like their idea. But have you found the same type of thing?
Absolutely. And I think you're right. That's the way that to become more, to get more buy-in of your colleagues. And I totally agree. There is a certain thing, whether it's a top performer or your, most valuable employee for whatever metric you do. I mean, you're spending a lot of time with them and listening to them, but it's vital to listen to the receptionist, to me, because they're seeing things. I mean, I talk in our firm all the time that, everybody is a leader, whether, you may not have a title, but you've got your area that you're impacting others, whether it's at the firm or in your community or whatever. And so their voice is important. And if I say that and don't listen and then get back to them, even if that doesn't, like you said, as it doesn't work that time, it may not be the thing we need to do, but just to let them know I did listen, I looked at it, but this is really the direction we need to go at this point. Because you can lose all credibility and if you don't do that. So I totally agree, Dave.